The air was electric, charged with tension so thick it could almost be felt through the screens of millions of viewers watching live. Jessica Tarlov leaned forward, eyes sharp as knives, a smirk curling on her lips. "So, Ms. Crockett," she said, her voice slicing to the room, "you claim to hold a law degree, but can the American people really trust your expertise?" Every word landed like a hammer, echoing to the cameras and into the minds of an audience desperate to see truth, drama, and confrontation collide. The room went silent. Every eye, every camera, every heartbeat seemed to focus on Jasmine Crockett. A tense pause stretched long enough to feel like eternity. And then she moved, not hastily, not defensively, but with the calm precision of someone who knew exactly what she was about to do. Her gaze locked on Tarlov, steady and unshakable. Her posture radiated quiet authority. The world paused to watch. Would she crumble under the pressure, or turn the moment into something unforgettable? A ripple ran through the audience. Social media lit up in real time. Clips of the confrontation were shared faster than anyone could process. Commentators scrambled to summarize the tension, and viewers leaned closer, craving every detail. This is it, people thought, the moment that will make history or make headlines for the wrong reason. Tarlov pressed forward, sharper, more aggressive, but Crockett didn't flinch. Instead, a small, knowing smile appeared, a hint that she wasn't just ready to respond. She was ready to own the narrative. The silence that followed was electric, suspense so thick it almost hurt to breathe. And then, with a voice calm but piercing, Crockett opened her mouth, poised to deliver a response that would leave millions of hearts racing and jaws dropping simultaneously. The first words hung in the air like a challenge, a spark ready to ignite a firestorm. And as Crockett began, the energy shifted. The tension cracked, the audience gasped, and an unforgettable showdown was set in motion. What came next wouldn't just answer the question. It would redefine the conversation, leaving every viewer riveted, replaying, sharing, and talking long after the cameras stopped rolling. The tension from the opening didn't just linger, it multiplied. Every eye in the room, every viewer at home could feel it. This wasn't just another televised exchange. This was a defining moment, one that could shift public perception, challenge assumptions, and spark conversations far beyond the stage. Jessica Tarlov's challenge wasn't random. It was a carefully calculated attempt to unnerve Jasmine Crockett, to put her credibility on the line in front of millions. The question wasn't just about a law degree. It was about authority, trust, and who had the right to speak on issues that shape communities, laws, and futures. Crockett, poised and unshaken, understood the weight of the moment. Every answer she gave, every pause she took, would ripple far beyond the camera's frame. She wasn't just defending herself. She was representing everyone who had ever been doubted, underestimated, or dismissed because of their background, their identity, or the assumptions of others. Millions of viewers were watching, identified with her calm determination, feeling a spark of recognition. Here was someone who refused to be diminished. Tarlov leaned in, her words sharper, her tone loaded with skepticism and authority, trying to corner Crockett. The audience had almost sensed the clash of ideologies, the tension between arrogance and integrity, doubt and proof. "Explain it to us," Tarlov demanded, "why your legal experience makes you qualified to hold such responsibility." The statement was both challenge and trap, a test of composure under fire. Crockett's eyes scanned the room, measuring, absorbing, waiting for the right moment to strike, not with aggression, but with precision. The stakes were clear. One wrong move could make her look flustered. One perfectly timed response could define the narrative for years to come. Social media notifications buzzed relentlessly, amplifying the suspense. Every gasp, every subtle reaction, every micro-expression was now magnified across millions of screens, turning this confrontation into a national event. And as the tension peaked, a subtle shift began. Crockett's calm authority contrasted sharply with Tarlov's assertive questioning. The audience could feel it, even if they didn't yet understand why. The scales were beginning to tip. The next words, the first sentence she would speak, wouldn't just answer the question. They would set the tone for what was about to become a legendary showdown. And in that moment, viewers knew what happened next would change everything. Jessica Tarlov had built a reputation on precision, sharpness, and a relentless pursuit of accountability, but not without controversy. Known for her aggressive questioning and razor-sharp commentary, she had often been celebrated for cutting through the noise, yet critics whispered that her style sometimes teetered into intimidation. On stage, she carried herself with a confidence that bordered on arrogance, a polished armor forged from years of experience in the spotlight. Every word, every gesture, every pause was meticulously calculated to assert dominance and control the narrative. Her career was marked by headline-grabbing moments, interviews that made politicians squirm, debates that trended nationwide, clips replayed endlessly on social media. Tarlov had mastered the art of framing questions that seemed innocuous at first but carried hidden pressure, capable of cornering even the most seasoned figures. The public had come to expect a spectacle when she spoke, and tonight was no different. Her reputation preceded her. She was a formidable interrogator, the one who left opponents rattled and the audience eager for fireworks. Yet beneath the surface of her public persona, cracks sometimes appeared. Moments of overconfidence, subtle slips, and the occasional miscalculation reminded the world that even the sharpest blade could falter. History was full of instances where her precision misfired, where her assumptions collided with prepared, confident opposition. Those who had underestimated their targets found themselves publicly corrected, and Tarlov, though quick to adapt, had occasionally been the subject of ironic social media virality, a reminder that hubris could be punished in the harshest spotlight. Tonight, she entered the confrontation armed with her experience, yet unknowingly vulnerable to a counter she hadn't anticipated. Her challenge to Jasmine Crockett was not merely a question about qualifications. It was an attempt to assert dominance, to prove superiority in front of millions. But the very tools that had made her famous, the sharp tone, the carefully rehearsed delivery, carried risk against the right opponent, one who could read the room, measure the tension, and strike with calculated calm. Those same tools could become traps, magnifying flaws instead of masking them. As she leaned forward, ready to unleash her next pointed remark, the audience sensed the stakes. Tarlov was formidable, but every hero needed a worthy test. And tonight, standing across from her, that test had already begun to shape itself, quietly gathering force. What no one yet knew, not even Tarlov herself, was that the narrative was about to shift in a way that would leave viewers and critics alike stunned. Jasmine Crockett didn't arrive on that stage by accident. Her journey had been shaped by determination, resilience, and a relentless commitment to justice. From her earliest days, she faced challenges that could have easily deterred someone less determined. Growing up in communities where voices like hers were often ignored, she learned early that credibility wasn't given. It was earned through knowledge, preparation, and unwavering courage. Every obstacle, every moment of doubt cast by others, became fuel for her resolve. Her path through law school was marked by late nights, rigorous study, and a constant balancing of responsibilities, both academic and personal. Unlike some who coasted on privilege or circumstance, Crockett's achievements were the result of hard work, late nights, and sacrifices that few would ever see. She understood the weight of accountability, the responsibility of wielding knowledge in a way that could protect the vulnerable and challenge systemic injustice. Her legal career wasn't just a job. It was a mission to amplify voices often silenced, to transform rhetoric into real, tangible results. Every case she handled, every courtroom she entered, had honed her ability to remain composed under pressure. She had faced moments of confrontation before, times when colleagues, opponents, or the public doubted her capability. But she had always responded with poise, clarity, and precision. Her skill wasn't in shouting louder or attacking harder. It was in understanding the dynamics, reading the room, and responding with exactness. Every answer was carefully considered, every word weighted with intention, making her not just competent but formidable. Beyond her professional life, Crockett carried a personal story that resonated with millions. She embodied the struggles and triumphs of communities often overlooked, a symbol of persistence in the face of skepticism. For those watching tonight, she wasn't just another politician or lawyer. She was a reflection of their own journeys, their own battles for recognition, dignity, and justice. And now, on this stage, facing a figure renowned for sharpness and intimidation, Crockett was more than ready. Every past struggle, every late-night study session, every challenge she had overcome had prepared her for this exact moment. The audience could feel it. There was a calm power emanating from her, a quiet confidence that spoke louder than words. And as the first words of her response hovered on the horizon, viewers knew instinctively what was about to happen would not just answer question. It would define her, and it would leave the world watching in awe. The room bristled with tension as the exchange escalated. Tarlov leaned forward, her voice sharp, pressing harder, attempting to puncture Crockett's calm exterior. "Ms. Crockett," she said, each word deliberate. "Many people are asking, how can you claim legal expertise when your record shows so many critics questioning your experience? Aren't you concerned this undermines public trust?" Her tone was precise, a weapon honed over years of televised debates, designed to provoke, unsettle, and test. Crockett didn't flinch. She absorbed the words, her eyes calm yet piercing, her expression unyielding. In that moment, it became clear to the audience. This was a battle not of volume but control, not of aggression but of intellect. The contrast was stark. Tarlov's fiery, confrontational energy against Crockett's poised, strategic presence. The tension was palpable, the stakes unmistakable. Millions watching were no longer spectators. They were participants in a drama unfolding in real time, hearts racing as every syllable threatened to tip the balance. Tarlov pressed further, leaning into a rapid-fire series of pointed questions, attempting to create cracks in Crockett's composure. "Can you explain a specific case where your legal judgment directly impacted legislation?" she demanded, a subtle smirk suggesting she expected hesitation, expecting her opponent to falter. The audience shifted, sensing the pressure mounting, feeling the weight of anticipation. Social media feeds exploded with comments, memes, and urgent speculation. Every pause, every breath, every micro-expression was instantly magnified. But Crockett remained unmoved. She chose her words with meticulous care, her responses measured yet assertive. Each answer subtly turned the pressure back onto Tarlov, highlighting the contrast between brash assumption and prepared authority. The audience felt the shift. A new energy emerged, one of admiration and disbelief. Tarlov, for all her experience, could feel the tide beginning to turn. The carefully orchestrated dominance she had relied upon for years was no longer guaranteed. As the debate intensified, the room seemed to vibrate with suspense. Crockett's calm responses were more than answers. They were statements of competence, dignity, and authority. Every sentence eroded Tarlov's expected advantage, each word building toward the inevitable climax. And then, as the questioning reached its peak, the audience sensed a moment approaching. The pivot point where Crockett would strike back, not with aggression, but with the clarity, intelligence, and composure that would leave an indelible mark on everyone watching. The anticipation was electric, the suspense unbearable. Then it happened. Crockett leaned forward, her calm authority cutting through the tension like a blade through fog. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't lunge. Every word was deliberate, precise, and loaded with quiet power. "Jessica," she began, her tone steady, almost conversational. "Public trust isn't measured by doubt or criticism. It's built through service, diligence, and integrity. My record speaks for itself. Cases won, communities defended, voices amplified where they were once silenced." The room went silent. Tarlov's smirk faltered ever so slightly, the first hint of uncertainty. Crockett continued, her gaze unwavering. "It's easy to question credentials when you focus on optics instead of impact, but the real measure of capability is action, and my work has consistently created tangible results." Each phrase was a masterstroke, turning the aggressor's attack into a showcase of her own competence. The audience felt it, the energy shifting unmistakably in her favor. Every pause, every carefully measured breath heightened the suspense. Crockett methodically deconstructed assumptions, countering each insinuation without aggression, but with undeniable force. Social media erupted instantly. Clips of her response went viral. Viewers replaying precision, the dignity, the intelligence. Every comment, every share amplified the moment. The hero had risen, and the villain's projected dominance was cracking in real time. By the time she finished, the room was awash with a new energy. Tarlov's confidence had visibly faltered. Whispered murmurs of disbelief rippled through the audience. Crockett had not just answered question. She acclaimed the narrative, transforming skepticism into admiration. And as the applause and gasps filled the space, it became clear this was more than a rebuttal. It was a defining moment, one that would echo far beyond the stage, leaving millions inspired, shocked, and glued to every unfolding word. The moment Crockett spoke, the world erupted. Social media exploded with hashtags, GIFs, and viral clips capturing her calm, commanding response. Hashtag Crockett Clapback trended within minutes, while pundits, commentators, and everyday viewers dissected every syllable, every pause, every glance. The ripple effect was instantaneous. Late-night shows replayed the exchange, political analysts debated her composure, and news outlets ran headline after headline framing the moment as a turning point in credibility and poise. Across the country, audiences shared their astonishment, inspired by Crockett's unwavering authority. Many saw themselves in her, the struggle to be heard, the need to rise above doubt, the drive to prove worth through action rather than words. Meanwhile, Tarlov's projected dominance crumbled under the weight of her opponent's composure, her previous victories now overshadowed by a moment she hadn't anticipated. Even politicians and celebrities joined the conversation, amplifying the impact. Clips circulated not only for their entertainment value, but as lessons in resilience, intelligence, and dignity. Public discourse shifted, and for millions, the confrontation became a symbol of truth triumphing over arrogance. The digital echo of that room would continue to reverberate for days, weeks, and beyond, marking this as a defining moment in political debate history. And as the world watched, the question lingered: what would happen next, and how far-reaching would this moment truly become? As the applause and social media frenzy settled, the real power of the moment became clear. Jasmine Crockett hadn't just defended her credentials. She had embodied a larger truth. Integrity, preparation, and dignity always outshine arrogance and spectacle. In a world quick to judge by surface appearances, she reminded millions that competence is proven through action, not assumptions, and that calm confidence can disarm even the sharpest attacks. Her response resonated beyond politics. Immigrants, underrepresented communities, and anyone who had ever been doubted saw themselves reflected in her poise and determination. It was a lesson in persistence, in believing in one's worth even when the world questions it, and in facing adversity without surrendering to fear. Crockett's performance transformed a tense confrontation into a blueprint for navigating challenge with intelligence and grace. The stage, once a battleground, had become a symbol of resilience and empowerment. Viewers felt inspired, validated, and motivated, realizing that true authority comes not from aggression, but from preparation, clarity, and ethical resolve. And as the echoes of that exchange reverberated across screens and hearts alike, one truth became undeniable. Moments like these remind the world that courage and integrity leave a mark far more lasting than any insult or doubt ever could. The confrontation between Jasmine Crockett and Jessica Tarlov had ended, but its impact would echo far beyond the stage. Viewers were left inspired, reminded that preparation, integrity, and calm authority triumph over arrogance and doubt. This wasn't just a debate. It was a lesson in resilience, courage, and dignity for millions watching. If you felt inspired by Jasmine's unwavering composure, don't just watch. Engage. Share this video. Join the conversation. And subscribe to the channel to witness more moments where truth and perseverance rise above the noise. Be part of a community that celebrates courage, insight, and empowerment.